We're at Queensland Raceway, and here's the green flag.
Oh, right on the line as well. The start has held them for a long time. But Stevie J's got the jump. JB's going to try and go around the outside. Can he hang in there?
They're still side-by-side in formation, going through 1 and 2, and Bow is hanging tough on the outside here.
Yeah, no, he's not going to get there now. He's trying to have him go around the outside, and that's led Andrew Madecki back into the argument. So Stephen Johnson being fairly kind there, like Mark King down the inside of the road. Andrew Madecki trying to get some space. It's all happening throughout the field at the moment.
So Ian Palmer was slowing up. Is that Keith Kasulki locking up? It was going down to turn 3. So Bow has been menaced now by Andrew Madecki as they come out of turn 3. The run down to the 1 of 2 left-handers on this 6-turn course.
So nice clean start, all the cars through. A little bit of locking up, a little bit of swapping and jostling positions. But as it is, Stephen Johnson has opened up that 3 or 4 car length gap, which is going to be quite comfortable with him. He was fast in qualifying, so that 5 or 6 car length gap now is going to be hard for JB to hunt down.
It's a big margin for Stevie J as he comes to the final turn here in Mustang Sally. It's already a second as he comes out the final turn. Abel Neese is going to get hung out to dry here. Mark King will make the pass. Glenn Seaton gets past him in the process. Lap 1 is down as Madecki looks for a pass down the inside the Lubramax entry. Oh, Bow gave him enough.
John Bow's seen Andrew Madecki coming there, give him a little bit of room, and he's now going to have to try and hang on the outside. It's always a risky move on the outside of Andrew Madecki. He's a tough racer, he won't give you much, but JB decides to let him have it and fight on for another day. So now, Andrew Madecki, we did see some fantastic pace from that Camaro in qualifying. He just didn't quite get there in terms of knocking off pole position, but it had some very fast sectors, and now he's probably the best chance to chase down Stephen Johnson in that in Mustang Sally.
Madecki's had 2 wins this year. That was the Clipsal 500 round. Oh no, Andrew Fisher. This car had engine dramas yesterday, and there was a bit of a question mark over it prior to qualifying, and it's a sad sight as he jumps out the Jesus All About Life Falcon.
Unfortunately, the question's been answered, hasn't it? The car's not going to continue in this one. Bit of smoke, steam coming out of the bonnet, which is never a good thing in these cars. Jason Gromisel, very fast in practice, on board with him. Man, he goes back to that first gear early and puts a lot of stress on the engine, on the gearbox. But he slows that car down. He's trying to find a way past Jimmy Richards. Glenn Seaton now, another passing manoeuvre. He's moving up through the field.
So through they come. Gomersall over the back of Jim Richards. Glenn Seaton is next. This is your battle pack for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So round to turn 2 they come. And Johnson just starting to ease away from the field. 1:17.08, the fastest lap of the race. He's 1.97 seconds clear at the moment of Madecki in second.
John Bow there looking for some clean air already. Obviously the temperature's up a little bit today. The brakes are hot, the engine's now hot. Obviously they want to try and get some fresh air through that car engine. Madecki opening up a little bit of a gap, about the same gap now that JB's got over Jim Richards in the Javelin. And then right behind Jimmy Richards, you've got that battle with Jason Gromisel and Glenn Seaton now coming up to close to behind those guys.
Some action further back in the field during this race, right in the middle of the track there. And that was when Fisher broke down and almost took the field. A couple of cars behind him. This is further back in the field. Cameron Tilley and Charlie O'Brien. Look at this two-wheeling feeling we've got down here. That's some cool stuff.
That is great to see. Is it some slow motion action, side-by-side racing, and they've continued on without putting a scratch on the cars, which is good to see.
So Bow and Madecki just inching away from Jim Richards, who's now got Glenn Seaton on the back of him. Got past Gomersall on the previous lap. Mark King just tailing on the back of Eddie Abel Nisa, who we're right on board with now, the Brisbane's cheapest cars entry.
You've got to be easy getting on the throttle. You've got to let the tyre do the work through turn 2. It's a very important run down the back straight. So if you get on the throttle too early, it tends to transfer the load through the car and upsets your run. So you've got to be patient. You've got to wait. You've got to let the car do the work. Jason Gromisel there. He's gone deep. Oh, that was a mistake. He's now come back at Keith Kasulki. So there's a little bit of a battle going on here. Glenn Seaton's now edged away from Jason Gromisel. But Jason, we saw him. He's got pace. He's definitely got pace. But he's making those little mistakes that's hurting his weekend at the moment.
The car prepared by Matt Stone Racing, his own business, iSeek. He's got a lot of races over the past few years and really enjoying his time in NZ Touring Car Masters competition this year. As Kasulki menaces the back of him. That's your order on lap 4 and 12. And now Kasulki under brakes at turn 6. Puts the big Falcon down the inside and makes the pass.
Well, there's history repeating itself, isn't it? The old
5, two-time Bathurst winner with Dick Johnson.
John Bowe there using less road than Andrew Madecki. The car's neat and tidy and clean. He's got the strength in the braking area, but can he turn it into a passing manoeuvre? Andrew Madecki gives him some room. JB thinks about it. He's now under his rear wing there, under the rear bumper bar, I should say, in terms of turn 5. Trying to get a good run into turn 6. But again, the Camaro opens up a little gap. JB looks down the inside, gets the rear quarter. Oh, he's close.
He's not one of the people I like to have in my mirrors, John Bowe.
Oh, he's even worse in front of you.
Exactly.
Don't worry about that.
Exactly right. It's Leo Tobin getting messy down here in the final turn on the Pro Sports cars. We saw him have a moment yesterday in practice, going off the track in turn number 1.
Yeah, definitely having John Bowe in the mirrors is more fun than having him in front of you, I can assure you of that. Trying to pass that guy is difficult. Trying to keep him out's even, he's hard, but I reckon trying to pass him's harder. So he's known for it. He's always had one of the widest Touring Car Masters car on the racetrack. But right at the moment, Andrew seems to have opened up that little gap.
On board with Abel Nisa. We'll listen to these awesome Touring Car Masters cars heading down to turn 3. Oh, dramas here for the 99 car. This is Michael Ubergang. We saw him have dramas yesterday in practice. This is the car that John English, the same John English that drove at Bathurst in the 80s, was scheduled to drive. He actually has damaged a couple of discs in his back. He fell off a boat in the lead up to this. And an event he was looking forward to, now he has to watch from the sidelines. But he's put a talented driver in the name of Michael Ubergang in the car. Brother of Adam Ubergang that we saw in Aussie racing cars at Darwin earlier this year. Just can't get that car right this weekend, can they? Meantime, back at 2nd and 3rd, it's on.
He just won't go away, will he, John Bowe? He's, they're actually catching Stephen Johnson a little bit. I think Stephen's probably backed that off a little, looking after all the components. Everything's getting hot. John Bowe looks up the inside again. Andrew just chops him off and turns in. So this is one of the challenges for John. He's really got to get the job done. He's got to get right up on the inside if he's going to do it under brakes. And he can't just get to that rear quarter or Andrew Madecki will turn in. I wonder what it's like for John Bowe. He's trying to find a way past Andrew Madecki and watching his own race car out in front winning the race. So it's quite exciting for him. They want to be up to P2 and we continue that Johnson-Bowe battle that we've now seen over the last couple of races. It's fantastic.
Let's go back to another cool battle between Jimmy Richards and Glenn Seaton. Famous surnames right through our Touring Car Masters field this year. All these guys that ran together in the Australian Touring Car Championship back in the late 80s and early 90s. Glenn's son Aaron doing good things now also, starting to work his way through Porsche GT3 Challenge. So that's Gomersall. Is that down at turn 4? Facing the wrong direction. So the iSeek Tirana has found the dirt down there.
He's had a moment. We talked about that earlier. He's had good pace, but it's a little mistakes. We're not sure what happened there. He's obviously maybe run a bit wide under braking or out-braked himself a little, which we saw him do earlier, and has found the brown stuff, not the black. So he's found himself off the track and, obviously lost a few positions there. One of the challenges, he's got good pace, but you've got to turn that into results. Just watching that Jim Richards, Glenn Seaton battle, it brings me back to 1987, Oran Park.
Yeah.
Australian Touring Car Championship on the line. BMW, Nissan, those boys battling it out. And here they are, all those years later, battling out at Queensland Raceway in Touring Car Masters.
The famous bump and run on the final turn at Oran Park. Speaking of bump and runs, the 22 Collins goes around. So a couple of excursions off the racetrack this weekend. The Collins Hay sponsored entry. Dropping right down outside the field in the Trans Am class. A big shout out to all the Queensland Trans Am cars who've joined us this weekend. They run their own local series up here and really loving racing with the NZ Touring Car Masters.
So these two cars here battling for 2nd and 3rd are catching Stephen Johnson. I'm suggesting Stephen's probably just cruising that car home with 4 laps to go, and the gap is closing. Glenn Seaton, and there we go. It's on. Glenn Seaton down the inside. A little bit of contact, a bit of rubbing. He's trying to find a way through Jimmy Richards. This is a good battle now for P4 and 5.
This is not 1987, gentlemen. That was great.
This might be a return of the favour.
Could
We
be.
just mentioned it. We saw it. I was a kid back in the day, watched it on television. And now these two are fighting on 20-odd years later.
That was great stuff. They continue on. Seaton lining Jim Richards up. Jimmy would have loved that. He would have got upset.
So Glenn Seaton now, you can see out of our commentary windows very close, but it's Andrew Medecky that makes the mistake. Gives John Bower that little bit of an opportunity, and now they're going to drag race up to turn 4. So we've got a battle for P2 and a battle for P3 and 4 here. 4 and 5 going on throughout the field, and they're both closing in on Stephen Johnson, who's actually not pulling away.
He's settled now, hasn't he? Got out to about 3.5 seconds momentarily. It's back to 2. Are the tyres starting to show a bit of signs now, do you think?
Well, we've got 3 to go, so he's probably managing that gap well. And you can see the battle these two are having behind. That little mistake Andrew Medecky's made, it's given John Bower a sniff. It's given him an opportunity. Will he be able to turn that into second place? He's going to keep that pressure on. And this is where Andrew Medecky needs to grab the mirror and rip it off the windscreen and go, I'm just looking forward. I'm not going to worry about John Bower now. In the background, you've got Glenn Seaton side by side there with Jimmy Richards up into turn 1.
And this time, he cleanly does it into turn 1. So Seaton moves up a position now into P4. Now Jimmy might return the favour down at treacherous turn 3.
Glenn gets a good run off turn 2. Jimmy Richards right tucked in behind him going down the back straight. John Bower right up behind Andrew Medecky. Now it's, I was going to say Jim Richards now down the outside of Glenn Seaton. So this battle continues. It's been going on for a few laps now. Jimmy tries the undercut. He's going to get back. Can he find a way, the acceleration of that Javelin, the bigger engine over the smaller engine Mustang? Can he use that to his advantage and get back up in front of Glenn Seaton?
If only we had an in-car camera in Seaton and looking across at Richards, remind you of that old Bathurst shot running up Mountain Straight all those years ago. Jimmy had the presence of mind to give the thumbs up to race cam.
I reckon if you had a camera in there, you'd look at the smiles on their faces. They'd be loving this at the moment. A good battle, having fun, racing hard, and doing it fair and even, and it's good to see.
Meantime, it's 1 lap to go for Stephen Johnson on home soil. He was in Belgium last weekend as a guest at the Spa 24 Hour. Oh no, Mark King has gone around now. I'd say at turn 5.
Turn 5, yeah. A little bit of a spin there on the exit of when you come out of turn 4. If you drop a wheel on the off the edge of the track, it can actually spin you around on the entry to turn 5. So that's where you tend to end up. So a bit of a moment there for Mark King, and that car still sitting there actually, which could cause a problem for this traffic coming through. So need to see Mark King trying to get that car moving and out of the way.
If he's stuck down there, it'll be a yellow flag down in that section as Bower's running out of time to get past Medecky here with half a lap remaining. Johnson, the margin just under 2 seconds. We'll see him come through this shot in a moment. The lap car ahead. Bower has one last shot. I mean, the run at turn 6, you'd think.
It's going to be a run at turn 6, but traffic could play into this as well because they're about to arrive on one of the lap cars, which is going to play into it. Andrew Medecky down the inside of that traffic, but it's Stephen Johnson that's got a clean set of heels and is going to put himself in a position where he's going to win yet another Touring Car Masters race in Mustang Sally.
It's going to be his 6th win of the year and his first one here in Queensland Raceway. Stephen Johnson wins race 1 of the NZ Touring Car Masters. Medecky holds on for 2nd place. Bower will get 3rd. Glenn Seaton will get to 4th. Jimmy Richards will be 5th, and another awesome battle for 8th and 9th here between Greg Crick and Tony Karanfilowski, who pulls out to make the pass. Is he going to do it? No, would be the answer on that one. It was only 0.06 of a second at the finish line. Great race to start the weekend. Gomersall carving his way back through the field, but wind up in 12th position just behind Ian Palmer. Sorry, Charlie O'Brien, that is. Ian Palmer behind him, but there he is. Stephen Johnson, the winner here. Pole position.